Hey, Sylbourne. Hey, Gemma. Good evening. Okay, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Let me just get something sorted out here. Don't know what happened here. Okay, well, good evening. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, this is Sylbourne here, and it's a wonderful Tuesday afternoon, 18th of the 2nd, 2020. Just want to say hello, and yeah, it's a beautiful day. Welcome to those on Facebook. Welcome to those on YouTube. So I'm going live stream from YouTube as well. So if you go onto my YouTube, channel, you will find me. The music just went. Who cares about music, you know? I can still do the music, you know. Steve Atkinson, how are you doing, buddy? Well, listen, it's I understand that there was a hurricane which is called Hurricane Dennis, and Hurricane Dennis actually passed through the UK, coming through trying to find Sierra, right? So Sierra came last week, and he actually trying to find Sierra. So that is what has happened, really, whereby he's looking for his girl, you know. That is from the world of the what should I say, the world of the hurricane world. That's why they have all these different names. So you got Sierra, the lady hurricane, and then you've got Dennis, who is trying to find her and creating some havoc. So I hope that he found her, so therefore he can move on as well, and let's hope that there's no other one that comes along. And while there's been some sort of flooding as well, which is happening in some parts of the country, we just hope that that somehow will not be too bad. People are being affected as well. Just want to thank you guys for coming on. I'm just going to do sort of a sort of reflection on a couple of things. One of the things that I just want to really flag up very quickly, and I'll be very quick with this one, not because it is very quick or it is not relevant. It is relevant, but I just want to touch on it. And I must say that it is important that as people, and especially Black people, that I would say that we know we are as individuals, we know we are as people. You know, it is so important because you will always have persons who have their perception of what or who a Black person is, or how a Black person operates, and our IQ and all those sort of things, and we should not kid ourselves to think that some of these thinking and some of these thoughts have not been around for years, and sometimes it's just been cemented and fermented through persons. But it's very important that we know we are. And I'm referring to a gentleman which is called Andrew Sabisky, 27 years of age. He answered a call for Downing Street calls for weirdos and misfits to advise Boris Johnson's government. But his extreme views have sparked outrage online, where he's saying that Black person's IQ is less than is less than white persons, you know. So therefore we're at the bottom of the pile, you know. And of course, very quickly I must say that conservative MPs, Labour MPs, good thinking people actually rounded on him before he was able to be sacked, he resigned. And some of the thinking that he wrote some years ago, I think it was 2014, but there's a lesson about this as well. 2014, if the mean black American IQ is best estimate based on a century's worth of data, around 85, as compared to a mean white American IQ of 100, then if IQ is normally distributed, you'll see a far greater percentage of blacks, right, than whites in the range of IQ 75 or below, at which point we are close to the typical boundary for mild mental retardation, right? Now, without going into this any further, what you may notice right here is that this is from 2014, right? So what he said from 2014 came back to haunt him. Now, this is a lesson right here regarding persons who, especially millennials, especially young people at this time, who place all their work on and everything, all their thoughts on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everything is there. Everything is there that will come back and haunt you. Even if you're not speaking on something of this nature with this homophobic and bigoted view by this gentleman here. And, you know, I want to call these things out as you see it. You know, whatever. If you're in a Labour Party, a Conservative Party, or whatever, you've got to just call these things out as it is, right? And not be ashamed of it, because those views, and for the fact of the situation that he was somewhat considered to be the future thinker, or the future thinker of this nation, the future thinker of the Conservative Party, is a shame. And rightly and so, he's not with the Conservative government as an advisor. And I hope as well that more than likely he's not with, or was he, if he was a member of the Conservative Party as well, should go. This also points to the fact that it is so important, right, that individuals and persons really try as much as possible to get involved in the thinking process as advisors, as government, advisors, persons who can actually involve themselves in government in the UK, right? It is so important because, as I always say, and this is very important, if you want to see change, you've got to be the change, all right? If you want to see change, you've got to be change. Be the change that you want to see. It is something that I always say. It is something that human rights activities always say. Be the change that you want to see. And this is important because at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, right, individuals within their own rights have their level of identity. People will call a person's name as much as possible. And at the end of the day, such names one can actually accept and such names one can actually reject. And this points me on now to the recent incident regarding the death of Caroline Flack. Now, I posted a video about, I posted an article regarding Caroline Flack. But the article, if those who don't know Caroline Flack, who follow in the UK, she is a lady who killed herself recently. She was one of the, presenter for, Love Island. I don't watch Love Island. I don't watch these virtual reality shows. That's just me. And as a result of that, they said she killed herself. She actually had a row with her boyfriend, and she beat him up, punched him, or whatever like that while he was sleeping. The prosecution, once the prosecutor, he actually said he doesn't want her to be prosecuted, but the prosecution said we're going to push that case. And as a result of that, she killed herself, right? And there are a lot of discussions about social media as well. Social media, in the fact that lots of persons are affected by, people in the public eye, ministers of government. Everyone somehow is affected by the words that people say. Words. One of the things I always say all the while is that words are powerful, right? Words are powerful. And I titled this post the other day, which an article I wrote saying, "Sticks and stones can hurt my bones, but words can never harm me. Sticks and stones can hurt my bones, but words can never harm me." Now that is something that resonates a lot, especially for persons from the Caribbean, because that is a thinking, that's a thought process that we always have and held. That you can say anything you want to say to me, but it will not hurt me because it is not sticks and stones. Years on after and recognizing that, people are now recognizing that this is not wrong. This is wrong actually, because words are very powerful, right? Words can build, edify, exhort, and comfort. And words at the same time can destroy, alienate, rip you apart, tear you up to a certain point whereby one's self-confidence and everything goes down, where one feels worse off itself, because words actually dig in deep, right? Powerful words, cut sharp, right? The Bible sometimes talks about rightly dividing the word. And if you can rightly divide the word, that means to say you can wrongly and unequally divide the word, right? Cyprian picking, okay, you're on Instagram, fantastic. It's glad that people on Instagram, sorry, on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see, check on YouTube as well, and just to see, put the love over there, it's Sylbourne Sydial TV, Sylbourne TV, or Sylbourne Show on YouTube. You see a live stream there. I'm actually going there because, you cannot have everything on one platform, just on Facebook. Facebook, if Facebook shut down, you're gone. So therefore, you got to keep other profile, other platform, and especially if you're into social media and doing live videos or whatever, create your own website as well, whereby you can actually somehow control and take control of your videos. So I say, we type, we write, right? And we destroy or we build. And I went further, so, saying that with the recent death of Caroline Flack, it has raised the debate of bullying, right? And terrible words said about Miss Flack via social media and the press, social media, Twitter, Facebook, the press, and everything. These are all about words. Words, words, words. Words can kill. And one of the points that I flagged up was this, that the Bible says this, and this is what the Bible says. And this is very important. Think about this for a second. Let's go into the Bible. It says, "In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. And the Word dwelt." The Word became flesh, yes, and dwelt among men. St. John 1 verse 1. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among men." Right? Why say that right there? It shows you the potency. It shows you the authenticity, and it shows you the power of words. So Word became flesh and dwelt among men, because in the beginning was a Word. The Word was with God. Think about that. So this shows how powerful words are, and as I said, words can build. And when you think about it regarding social media and, and sometimes they say they're taking a break off social media because of how toxic it is. When people say they are going to actually block and delete persons because of how toxic they are, about the things that they say. And that is why you got some people in the public eye, whatever, they do, they break down, they have mental health issues. You got politicians actually walking with security guard because of persons issuing death threats. People in movies, which and those movies are actually, what should I say, a movie or a show or a soap. People take it literally, death threats. But when we check it out, ladies and gentlemen, it's all words. Words, 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 words. Words are powerful. Words kill. Words are like knife, cut sharp. So therefore, how does one deal with this? And you tell me, how do you deal with the words? Do you just shut it down? Do you just dismiss? Do you just block? Do you just say, I'm strong, I'm rocky, I can absorb words? Or do you just shut it down? Do you take it in or do you shut it down? What do you do? Let me hear what you say. And for persons who will watch it, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it on social media as well? You know, I give a classical example for myself. One of the things that I start to do a lot is, and I must say, most of the persons that actually follow me on Facebook, I think 70 to 80% actually disagree with some of my views, my political views, and some of my stance. But I'm very authentic in what I believe in, and also very unapologetic with the things that I say, and my thought process, my ideology, my politics. And some persons cannot accept that. And when persons cannot accept that, they will come at you in different ways. Like the other day, I got someone say the ancestors are against you. It's like he's going to set the ancestors on me. And I said, what? Set ancestors on me? And when somebody think of that, and somebody's very extra timorous, they will say, wow, that is very dangerous. What do you do with that person? Do you go into a discussion with that person, or do you just block that person? Because there's a point in law, and I'm going to look for it right here. It's when in law school, there's a maxim, or it is from a case, which is take your victim as you find them. I want to type it here. Take your victim as you find them. And there it is, right there. Take your victim as they call it eggs call rule. Eggs call rule. Causation and legal responsibility, where the legal maxim, see I was correct? My lecturer would actually give me a pat on the back. Take your victim as you find him is well known in both the principle that the defendant must take the victim as he finds him or her. What that means is that for one person, somebody might say you're horrible, you're this and you're that. That person might take it and say, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? Because they're strong, they're confident, and they know they are. So therefore, a person can issue out words and they say, yeah, whatever. And that's literally true. That won't affect some person. But another person who have somewhat of a low sort of self-esteem and is struggling with identity of who they are, that word could kill them. That word that you're horrible, you're this and that, can push them over the cliff. That negative word could be the catalyst that pushes them over the cliff. And that is why the lady in Caroline Flack says, in a world where you can be anything else, it says, be kind. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. That means to say, how you use words. Words are very powerful, and words are very potent. Take your victim as you find them. I mean to say, everybody's at a different stage. Everybody is at a different level. And as a result of that, one has got to be mindful. How do you deal with that then? Right? You block, do you delete? Just because one is in the public eye, does that mean to say they have to engage with everybody? Just because one is a public figure, does that mean to say they have to engage, they have got to listen, they've got to be diplomatically responsive, or can they just block persons? My view is this. My view is simply this. If somebody is rude, somebody is disrespectful, and somebody using words and very demeaning and whatever like that, it is appropriate to block and delete them. Now, you have to remember again, even when we say the eggs call rule, the eggshells call rule. Skull is like, let's use the word skull and let's play with this a bit. Skull is what we call a shell. A body is somewhat like a shell. A person is somewhat like a shell, right? And within that shell, that body, there's a spirit, the soul, the mind, right? So when persons are using these words, the negative words or whatever, they're going to block them and stuff like that, it's a spirit behind that. It's that energy behind that. It's that negative energy, that spirit force. Sometimes it is not the person, because they don't know exactly what they're doing. Now, that's of course depending on a person, if they believe in the spirit, if they believe in things. And therefore, one has got to do, and I believe this very fundamentally, and I have no apologies about it now. Some people will accuse me and say, well, I don't like other opinions or other views, but I have the view right now, and I take this position that I block them and I delete them, and that's the end of it. Simple as that. Take, for instance, And somebody reminded me of this, tell me about this one day. And you know when you're driving, right? Everybody drives, well, who drive. And somebody bad drive you, right? That person who bad drive you, two things you can do, right? Two things. You can actually try to cut them back, bad drive them back, fume, or you can just stand back and let them go. And then somebody said to me, it is highly likely that you never see that person again. Therefore, there's got to be a level of self-restraint, self-control, and just pull back. You never see them again. And that preserves you. Because this is about preservation, this is about preservation of life. Because many people smile, many people look happy on social media, they're looking great, they're looking fantastic. But deep down and within them, they're dying, they're eaten up, they're being killed because words have actually permeated them, get deep in them, and like gangrene start to spread. And then more words of negative, that's why they talk about bullying as well. It comes in and it starts to dig in and it starts to swell, gangrene, and then what? It festers and then becomes like a disease to the point whereby something can flip, and that's the end of that game. Don't know if that's what happened with Caroline Flack, if that's completely what happened there, right? Could be the case. I mean, some people will say that the case shouldn't have been pushed, but there are certain cases where the prosecution have to carry on because it moves beyond the person, right? And becoming something where the state believe that it is fundamental and it's crucial. For argument's sake, somebody once hit me in the back of my car. Very simple hit. It wasn't anything very powerful, nothing great. And the person said, go across the road over there because we're in a particular traffic and I'll come and I will share my details with you. And I took the person's word for it. But before I do that, I asked my wife to take the picture of this person. And as a result, just to make sure. Well, of course, when we went across the road, the person didn't follow us. And that was the end of it there. But we got his details, and what we did, we reported it to the police. And the police responded by saying, because of course, you know that if you hit a vehicle or whatever and you run away, it's a crime. It is a crime. But the police wrote back and say that because of the level of damage, because it wasn't anything of great significance, they're not going to push it. It's not of anything of great significance. And that was the end of it. They said, use the insurance, and if the insurance doesn't work, they'll come back to us. Well, we use insurance. I used insurance, and that was sorted. Car got fixed and everything like that. Piece of cake, and insurance accepted liability. Right? Case on point, right there. It's just simply saying that that these things that happen sometimes, right? And like what that person just ran away, but was caught. Right, based on that particular action. So the police felt it wasn't important for that. But this particular thing with Caroline Flack, maybe they believed that it was so important and maybe she couldn't handle it, But that's something for them. So the words, we've got to think about words. We've got to think about the way how we communicate. And I don't believe for one instance that we all should be very prim and proper. I don't believe that we should stop being critical. I don't believe that we shouldn't have argument and go at full force ahead. I mean, society is becoming so politically correct. People can't say anything anymore because you're going to be offended. People do get offended very easily. I think at the same time, it's got to be a balance because I believe sometimes people are very thin-skinned. And I believe people should be thick-skinned. Sometimes I fear for the new generation of young people because when they get out there, they're going to realize that that protection that they have with at home and with families and everything, it goes out of the window when they're out there in this world, right? And as a result of that, they become weak, very, very wimpy. But what is very important is that there should be, what should I say, respect, yeah? Respect for individuals. Be kind, be critical, have argument, have debate, but how we go about it, how we call people names and all those sort of things. So I think that is something very important. And be not an apologetic person when you come on to block and delete individuals if they somehow, uh, you know, you know, rude and out of order. Yeah, block and delete them. Block and delete them and stuff like that. So that's why I would love to hear your views on that. That's just my thought process in regards to this whole thing. Block and delete persons. Be strong. Be rocky. Just know the power of words. Words are powerful. Right? Protect yourself. Protect your space. Protect your process of influence. Because at the end of the day, you are actually the steward of your shell, right? So you cannot let words sometimes come in. So you got to protect it, guard it, right? Guard it with passion as much as possible. All right. So that's good. Now, one more thing I just want to say, and I want to pick up something when I was discussing about Jamaica, and the recent deportation of 17 persons to Jamaica and the imminent possible deportation of others as well. I've been thinking about it in a way regarding words as well. And I've been thinking about the way how a lot of key MPs have been actually giving this impression that Jamaica is not a place for persons to go back to, all right? A place for persons to go back to. That persons who are deported, if they go back to Jamaica, it's one of the worst things. And I believe it sends a mixed message, right? I believe that David Lammy, I believe that Diana Butt, I believe that Don Butler, they send a mixed message out there as if Jamaica is a terrible place to return to. I completely disagree with that. Something I said last week, that for a particular newspaper to say Jamaican Windrush criminals, in order for them to say that, it is because they have been given the ammunition to say that by persons actually saying that these persons are Windrush persons, while the government is saying these persons are criminals. One is saying they are Windrush, one is they are criminals. So therefore the newspaper put it together and said, okay, if that's the case, one is saying they are criminals, one is saying they are Windrush, so therefore they are Jamaican Windrush criminals. And I said, la, 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 la. Wow, wow, wow. Look at that. Labels again. Labels upon labels upon labels. Jamaican Windrush criminals. People are calling them deportees. I said, should they be called deportees? Words. Words. It's all words. Words. I think what the topic of today should be words. The power of words. Deportees. Right? People are saying, I'm saying, I put it on, why do they call them deportees? Okay, they've been deported, but deportees have now become with this negative connotation. So, okay, let's call them something else. Returning residents. Involuntary returning residents. What do you think? Involuntary returning residents. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Involuntary returning residents. At the end of the day, they returned, but they didn't go, fortunately. But then when the media, not when the media, when the MPs, key MPs are actually standing up and actually saying that, where are they going to? They're going back to a place where they don't know, a place where they don't know. It gives this impression so much that Jamaica is this worst off place. Don't get me wrong, I know that there's some crime factors, but it is so important that we watch how we use these words, because it conjures up this image. So I draw the conclusion that David Lammy, Don Butler, and these guys actually doing a disservice to Jamaica. While they may be doing a service in the sense of standing up for the persons who are to be deported, but by their words and the info, how they info based on the inference, then somehow they are doing a disservice to Jamaica. That's my views. And it is important that you give your views as well, whether you agree or you disagree on that particular point. Then at the same time, someone said, well, if they go back to Jamaica, Sylbourne, some of them will be criminals. Elements will actually go after them. And then Mark Shields, who was a former commissioner of police in Jamaica, deputy from Scotland Yard, who was stationed in Jamaica, what he said is this: definitely, some of their lives will be in danger. but it is based on the life that they live, the life that they choose to live. And then I started to think about the life that they choose to live. So therefore, if they go back to Jamaica and they are going to be killed or affected as a result of such, based on the life that they live, then should the UK then keep them? We always talk about you should not send somebody back to a place where they get killed, rightly so. But it is a choice that those who are criminals or whatever, choose to live. So therefore, if they got bad dealing with person in Jamaica, that's the life they choose to live. Now that is completely indifferent, different from somebody based on their sexuality, based on their religion, and based on their race. Now that is a bit different. If someone is to be deported or sent back to somewhere where by virtue of their race, they'll be killed. By virtue of their sexuality, they will be killed. By virtue of their religion, then they will be killed. That is like, it's not like a choice that they made in a sense which is wrong, but it's something that they rightfully made. But when someone commits a crime and based on the relationship that they have, he's saying that that's a completely different. I hope I'm not misconstruing him, but it is food for thought as well. But the whole cycle and everything, I would say, revolve completely and totally around words, right? Words, 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 and words. But finally, before I go, I just want to flag up something. And I don't know if you know. I need to put on my glasses for this. And there's a video which is going around regarding Sankofa. I'm just touching on a few little things today. Sankofa, right? It says there's a press conference outside the mayor's office at 10 a.m. on Monday, 24th of February, to read a letter officially drafted by ADPAC, African Diaspora Political Action Committee, to demand the resources for Sankofa Day in Trafalgar Square in order to observe our ancestors. We are representing 2 million African diaspora Londoners and are right to an equal share of London resources as taxpayers and as demand the allotted resources to observe the African Holocaust and celebrate our ancestors. We're inviting African Caribbean press outlets going across the TV, online, print, and radio. This is an issue for the entire London African Caribbean to get behind. We will represent our case, and based on the African Caribbean economic and civil contribution that we make toward London, and on that basis demand our proportion share of resources in this country. All right, so that is something which is which they're talking about to happen. And there's a video going around which I'll post where a young lady is talking about it, and it's very interesting for Sankofa Day, and that's a day for the Black community in the UK. All right, so do check that out. And ladies and gentlemen, that's me for the night, 18th of the 2nd, 2020, where I touched on 3 key topics: the power of the words. I spoke about the advisor from the Conservative Party who was sacked, rightfully so. Well, not sacked, he resigned, but he would have been sacked because everybody actually came at him. And I believe it is right that I spoke on it, because many people say I don't speak on these things because it's my party. And yes, I believe that all parties have their bad elements, but the party did rightfully. That such bigoted views, saying that black people are inferior to other races, which is rubbish. And my encouragement to black people is to know that you should know who you are and have the confidence as much as possible. And then speaking about Caroline Flack as a power of words, with all mental health issues, that words are powerful, words are life. Words can build, edify, exalt, and comfort, or words can tear down, rip apart, and push people against the brick. You know, that's why you got bullying. So, and therefore it's important that if you want to, you got to block and delete, and don't worry about offending anybody if you block and delete them, because it's not about them. It's the words and the spirit behind them which is so crucial as much as possible. And then I touched on again as well the deported persons going back to Jamaica, and said that, and I make a position that the likes of David Lammy, Don Butler, Diana Budd, they have done a disservice to Jamaica by giving the impression that Jamaica is a terrible place to go back to. It is unfortunate that no one of these high-profile positions didn't say things like, while these persons are to be deported, while these persons may not have been right to be deported, but if they go back to Jamaica, Jamaica is a lovely place, and you can actually build your life, you can actually do things, because even though there's a crime element, it's a great country, it's our ancestry, our parents are from there, and you know, Don Butler could have said it, and at the same time should have been saying words like, and to, while you're living in the UK, take, you know, live a life befitting, you know, take care of yourself, take care of your family, pay your tax, and live a good life, and you know, because you're in a foreign land. So none of those things came out. So I'm talking about words, the power of words, and this is what this topic, the power of words. Words are powerful. In the beginning was the word. Yes, Cyprian, and do not commit crime. Do not commit crime. And important, and most important, like and subscribe to the Sylbourne Show. Like and subscribe as well to this the YouTube channel, which is there live. People can watch it live there. Got to go different places. And follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And look out, very soon there'll be a live show, maybe 2 nights a week, a bit like Jay Leno, you know, it's different style, the late one, taken from this place to another place, still having the Sylbourne Show on the live. But one of the things that I need, I'm gonna need guests, guest upon guest upon guest, 5-minute, 10-minute slots, you know, talking about person with branding and all those other things. Exciting time, changing the narrative, leading the narrative, not being, as someone said something to me today. What they said, we've got to be careful that we are not easily led down the garden path. Let me see if I can find it. Is that what you said? Today is what? Today is the February the 17th. I wrote it down. Yeah. Be careful that one is not easily led or initially, you know, infuriated just like that. You know, we got to take care of the narrative. Anyway, guys, listen, thank you. Western Gallimore, Brethren, straight from Ochi, straight from Yard. Cyprian on YouTube, thank you so much for coming on. Sharika, you came late. Go on the naughty steps. Tracy Humphreys, hi, good night, all the way from the States. Do I get to sit on the red chair? Yeah, man, you get to sit on the red chair, Mr. Pitkin. Yeah, you're qualified to be on the red chair. Tony Kelly, sir, Samantha Grieve, Sharika, you're late. Nick, Theo, Mike Lawrence, Tina Mac, thank you so much for coming. And for those who came late, you need to go on the naughty chair, not on the red chair yet. And thank you so much, guys, and watch the replay as well. Okay, peace out. Thank you. Cheers. And also, one of the things, and so while I'm just letting the music just play and just enjoying it, is to let me have some topics. I know Cyprian sent me some topics. Let me have some topics that we can digest and dig into as well. All right. I know Brit Jam is coming up. Brit Jam with Corey I, that's coming up as well. A lot of things are coming up. Yeah, there's so much things I want to talk about, but I can't say it now. This music playing. Anyway, good night. Bye bye.